So I just came home from my day job and it was a pretty intensive day, I must say. And sometimes for me that means that I'm spending it the whole day behind a computer screen. And sometimes that drives me a little bit insane, especially my eyes. So what I like to do then when I come home is sit on my giant couch, dive into my sketchbook, and I'm gonna do that right now. And I was thinking it would be nice if maybe I did a little voiceover and told you a bit about what goes on in my big head when I'm filling those pages. So, are you ready? Because I am. Yes, let's go. So, these sessions are about playing and about painting intuitively and creating intuitively. So, do not think about what you're doing, but to try to come up with something that feels like this moment to you. And there is no pressure on the outcome at all. And therefore, these pages are actually perfect to unwind um, after a long day. And my day job requires lots of screen time. I sit a lot behind the computer trying to solve puzzles at the screen. So I'm always looking forward to these moments actually without any screens, and I try to do this daily. So I have lots of sketchbooks, and sometimes I fill one page, and sometimes I fill two. Sometimes I even fill more. It depends on how quick it dries. Sometimes I work in multiple sketchbooks at the same time. Um, and I always start Well, I often start with big shapes like I'm doing here. And for this one, I decided to pick some colors before I started already that I thought would look good together. And I'm always looking for contrast. So what I'm doing here is already looking for contrast in the colors. And also in the material. So I'm using Posca markers and I'm using brush pens, which go great together. About getting something down on the paper because that will ask for something else and it will ask for something new. So I try to move quickly and I try to do something different in this stage of the sketches, like with each new color or each new material that I bring in. And it is something that I kind of trained myself to do. So in the beginning, I was really thinking about what I wanted to make and what I wanted to paint, and now these sessions are really to be more in the moment and to have a moment for myself and put on some nice music and have my decaf coffee after dinner. And as you see, I'm working with multiple things here. So these are pencils, and I chose black and dark green for this one. And sometimes I stick to the Poscas and the brush pens and the pencils because sometimes it's enough and I don't want the hassle of getting some paints out. But in this particular day, I was really looking forward to making some paint marks and using my brushes because I recently moved into my new house. And this was actually one of the first sessions that I got to do here, which was really exciting. And I looked forward to it. So it felt like a fresh start, which is something that I love about sketchbooks. Is each page can be a new fresh start. They can refer to pages before, or they can like be a piece of art completely on their own, and they can also be really frustrating if you can't seem to get it right. And often, if I can't get it right, it means I'm not patient enough, or I'm somewhere else with my brain, and then I am in those moments I am painting because I think I have to. And then it doesn't happen intuitively anymore. Then I'm actually at somewhere else and just doing like the hours of paint because it's just what I do. But for this particular, well, session, I had lots of fun. It was really nice, and I got to try lots of things. And here I'm actually, you'll see me like try different stuff. So I'm actually mixing the white now on the paper itself. And the thing with these sketchbook sessions is that everything is allowed. Which sounds very obvious, but if you're making something, it really is not. And once you start making things, and once you talk about it, or you write more about it, or you think more about it, you realize how many boundaries you actually have as a person, but also, well, well, not also, just as a person. I'm not something else as well. And I'm still in the like filling the page process here, and there are things that now coming more to the front. I added some more marks, I added some stripes, some loose things. And the thing you'll see me do, or at least what I try, is to search for contrast. um, Contrast in materials, in lines, in shapes, in colors. And sometimes you, almost always, I mean, you will take a piece too far, like I'm doing now. Because I did not like that brown. Damn. I was doing this and then I thought, no, Lena, why are you doing it? But the beauty about paint and acrylic paint that I'm using here, it dries very quickly and you can go over it. And mm, it hasn't been, it only happened a couple of times that I like felt like I could not fix a painting anymore because it dries so quick and because you can go over it. And yes, okay, I had some paintings that I just completely made white, but now I sometimes also go back to my earlier work, and if I'm not happy with it, I can like add a new layer still. Some of the works are still open, and because I am also in process and my art is also in process and it develops with me. And sometimes in the beginning I was really afraid to do that, to go over a painting that I might actually have liked at some point, and then if I looked at it, I thought I wasn't allowed to touch it anymore. And the thing is, you can do anything because you can decide for yourself, because it's your art. And now that I'm looking at how I'm painting here, when you see me bring out the black, you will know that I was really enjoying, and I was looking for the biggest contrasts that I could do with the limited materials and colors that I picked for myself. And I just love black. The color, well, pops right next to it, as you can see with the light green here. Um, yeah, and this in my in lots of my last sketches and my last works, you will see that coral rose color. um it really grew on me. Like, it's weird how in the beginning you reject some kind of colors because you think they are not you. And I think there are more people that had this with colors that tend towards pink, and now pink is one of the colors that often helps me revive a painting if I think it's too, well, not boring, but if it needs a little something. And sometimes I try to um, add the most contrast by adding some pure white. And I can tell you that sometimes it goes really well. In this case, it didn't. So I just added some more black. And now I also felt like I took it a little bit too far. I did not like this work at this stage anymore. So I wiped off some things, and well, also sometimes I look for spontaneous stuff. So wiping off, um, making like prints. And now the black was a little bit too heavy anyway. So I added some blue. And I really like the lines that you could see in the back, but they were a little bit minimal. So here I am with my rose color, coral color, adding some details. The contrast in the Posca and the paints and the simple lines with the big shapes is something that, well, really interests me. You can create beautiful things like this, and there are little pieces here that I, well, really like. And sometimes it's about killing your darlings and getting out of your comfort zone and like getting new paint in there. And sometimes it's about leaving them. So at this point, I thought that a lot of stuff was happening, and somehow my colors didn't really, like, the green didn't pop out anymore as it did in the first stage. So I added some gray because gray is a great way of, um, well, giving some neutral sense to your work. And I'm experimenting with that more um, at the moment. And now it needed some more light things, and I wanted a little bit more details. So that's where new stripes come in, and probably also some dots here and there, because those tiny details can really, well, make a work feel alive. And sometimes you do this with a specific color, and then you think, well, this color actually looks pretty good with all the other stuff. So I added a little bit more. I really love this color, and sometimes it's not only about how the color feels, but also how the paint feels. Because I remember that this felt really opaque, which was a very nice feeling to paint with, and the brush felt good like this. So I just wanted to add a little bit more, and this color worked perfect, and it was a good um, it was a good mix of a little bit neutral gray, but also the colder blue.